Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my new program Oculus. Oculus, as we know, is the eye. Oculus is a clinical ophthalmology series. I will explain in it from Kanski mainly, but I can also explain from American Academy or Oxford. Today we will start with the neuro-ophthalmology chapter, and we will start with optic neuropathy. What's meant by optic neuropathy? As we know, neuropathy is a disease. So, optic neuropathy is a disease or diseases of the optic nerve. Before we start with the diseases of the optic nerve, let's start quickly with the normal anatomy and physiology of the optic nerve. Simply, anatomy of the optic nerve is optic nerve is composed of four parts mainly. Let's make a mnemonic with optic nerve. Optic nerve love number 4. Optic nerve is composed of four parts. Its length ranges from 4 to 5 centimeters. What is the four parts of the optic nerve? First, it is the intraocular part. Intraocular part is the part of the optic nerve that we see when we examine fundus. Optic nerve head. It is the shortest part, being 1 millimeter deep and approximately 1.5 millimeter in vertical diameter. And as we know, it's called optic disc. The second part is intraorbital part. The length of the intraorbital part only is 2.5 or 3 centimeters. So it is the longest part of the optic nerve. As we know, the orbit is about 4 centimeters long and the eye is about 2.5 centimeters long. So the left part is only 1.5 centimeters long. But we have the intraorbital part of the optic nerve, which is 3 centimeters. So it is the double length of the remaining part of the optic nerve. So it's tortuous. Why is this? To protect optic nerve from traumas or traction. So there is late affection of the optic nerve in orbital disease, except in optic nerve tumors, which is the disease of the optic nerve itself. Intraorbital part diameter is about 3 or 4 millimeters. Surely you notice that it becomes thicker because of the myelin sheath. The third part, which is the intracanalicular part, it traverses the optic canal and measures about 6 millimeters. There are two M added to the nerve. They are meninges and myelin sheath. And unlike the intraorbital part, the intracanalicular part is fixed to the canal, the optic canal, as the dura fuses with the periosteum, so it is very dangerous in traumas. The fourth part is the intracranial part, which joins the chiasm and varies in length from 5 to 16 millimeters or average 10 millimeters. So it is vulnerable to damage by adjacent lesions such as pituitary adenomas and aneurysms. Quickly, intraocular part is 1 millimeter, intraorbital part 25 or 30 millimeters, intracanalicular part 6 millimeter, intracranial part 10 millimeter. So we have now an optic nerve which is approximately 50 millimeter long. Let's move to the physiology or the normal functions of the optic nerve. We can make a mnemonic for this, which is 3F. F for functions, F for fundus, and F for field. Optic nerve is responsible for visual functions, which are visual acuity, color, contrast, light sensitivity, and pupil. Pupil actually is indicator for the afferent, which is optic nerve, and the efferent, which we will talk about in the next lessons. The second is fundus, which will indicate variable optic nerve diseases, and the field. The field is the translation of the fundus of the optic nerve. Any affection of the retinal nerve fiber layer or any part of the fundus will be translated as a defect in the visual field. So, what is the signs of optic nerve dysfunction? Now it's easy. There is diminished or reduced visual acuity, dyschromatopsia or impaired color vision, which is mainly red and green and can be tested by a Shahara test, diminished light bright sensitivity, and diminished contrast sensitivity. And lastly, visual field defects. We can add here fundus changes. Let's go back to optic neuropathy. Now, what is the classification of optic neuropathy by cause, or in another expression, what is the mechanism of optic neuropathy? Or let's enumerate the diseases of optic nerve. First is the glaucoma, as it is a unique chapter. Second, papilledema, and we will explain it in the next lesson. Inflammatory is a disease of optic nerve called optic neuritis. Ischemic, hereditary, nutritional and toxic, compressive and infiltrative, and lastly traumatic. This will be discussed in detail, so we will not stand on it too much. And let's go to the inflammatory cause of optic neuropathy, which is optic neuritis. Oh, sorry, it is the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and search for the oculist for more videos. Thank you. Bye bye.